First, I would like to say that it's no dig at my dad. It is no disrespect to say that there are many father figures. Of course, I hold my own father in extremely high esteem, and nothing will ever change that. And there are many people over the course of our lives who are shining examples of what it means to be not only a man, but a man of honor. We discussed last week the men's team being a man of honor, noticing some of the lessons that I did not understand when I was receiving them. But as many lessons from our fathers are, we tend to get the real gift, the blessing, the reward for those lessons many years after the lesson has been taught. So, what I wanted to do today is to describe to you and announce the newest book that has been completed and the series of books concerning the New Pantheon. That's what it's called. It's the New Pantheon. I almost said The Passing Crow, primarily because I do have a cognitive tie to The Passing Crow and manhood as well. Now, I've always had a passion for what it means to be a man. The provider, the protector, the king, warrior, magician, lover, all of these different archetypes that turn into our understanding of what it means to be a contributing man in our society. When I was going through the things with the men's team, I was writing The Passing Crow. And over time, I have sharpened my writing capability, my storytelling ability, and my ability to communicate. So much so that we gotten to the point where I finally released the first of two books in a series, The Green Isle. The book that we just finished was the first book of the two, called The Dover Shore. And in this book, we have a setting that is much like the Vietnam conflict in the 60s and 70s. So in that case, in the Vietnam conflict, it was a proxy war where we had the North Vietnamese versus the South Vietnamese. The United States was backing the South Vietnamese. The Soviet Union at the time was backing the North Vietnamese, and the two were having the conflict there. I thought, in my studies of mythology, how interesting would it be to create a similar proxy war situation in which instead of Vietnam being the station of war, we'll have the Green Isle, which is Ireland, be the station of war, and we'll have two rival kingdoms supporting them. So I took that to the Norse mythology and made the analog for the US Asgard, given I'm a little bit biased as an American. And then we made the rival kingdom, Vanguard, the analog for the Soviets. So in this, we have the fighting happening primarily on the Green Isle of Ireland, and then the two kingdoms are fighting in proxy on said island. The story circulates around a main character named Cuchulainn Jameson. Cuchulainn, in a lot of ways, can be likened to a Hercules-esque character, a person of upstanding honor, virtue, and all of these things. Inherently, he is an honorable person. He's fighting on the side of the Danube in this war, and in the very beginning of the book, we see an absolute tragedy happen to him and his mother when the Firbolg, who is his enemy, invades the castle and it decimates everything. From there, he goes off into a second act where he is learning to be a warrior in the Asgardian training school. He does that, he has his tests and his trials, eventually goes on to fight in the actual Green Isle, and there is some more revealing and testing trials in the third act. What I wanted to highlight is the relationship that exists between Cuchulainn and this character named Kuvatu. Kuvatu, backstory, is the general from the Avani tribe, which is a Northern American Native American tribe. So the Avani are allied with the Danu, and they are simultaneously fighting against the Firbolg. Over the course of both of these novels, Cahulin and Kuvatu form a relationship that is likened to a father-son relationship. That was what I wanted to highlight in this story. And though all of that is just setting, the bond between Kuvatu and Cahulin is one that has to develop over the course of both of these novels. In this first book, Kuvatu is the one that initially saves Cahulin after he's defeated at the castle. Then he trains him and then releases him to go fight on his own. For a while we don't see Kuvatu, and we'll pick him up again in the second book. But I wanted to make a story that honored that relationship of a father and a son. That much the son is growing because of his place with his father, and the father figure is then redeemed by his place with the son. So, that is really the inspiration of what has laid the foundation of this book, The Dover Shore. With that, putting it in a kind of a logline statement, for those of you to catch your interest, this is how the book would be. This is our logline. During a time of great crisis, there is an Irish Civil War where our young and angry protagonist, Cahulin Jameson, must learn the value of his own honor in the face of insatiable evil before he and his friends lose their life to a merciless enemy. Now, of course, naturally, there's more that comes after that. Again, this is the best story I think I've written up until this point. And it is the 6th manuscript, and it will soon be available to you all. I wanted to make this video to highlight the connection that the video had earlier, where I thanked the men in my life, to creating this piece of art, this story that shows the importance of men in a person's life, and that example of how to be a man and how masculinity is bestowed and strength is bestowed upon the next generation. And with that, I hope that you all enjoy the book. If you want a copy of the book, so you can leave a comment on this video. You can send me a message calling A Life of Logos, and we will get you a copy as soon as possible. As we are starting up, we're actually not going to charge you for the copy. You can get a copy of the manuscript. It is available on Amazon. If you need a link for that, if you want to support, you can do that as well. And fortunately, this will be the first book that we actually publish on the main scale. We're going to work with Legacy Publishing to push this book out here in the next month or two. And we're going to get this dream rolling. So again, thank you to the fathers. Thank you for those people who said to try, those people who said to chase. And reminding me, I will close on this quote, 2 quotes actually, one from the men's team and one from my own father. The ones from the men's team is this, that a father prepares his son for life, and a son prepares his father for death. Meaning, a father gives his son the opportunity to live, and a son gives his father a reason to complete his life. Secondary thought, this is the one my dad told me, that if he had known how much God had loved him, he would have taken more risks. And as we are moving forward with this book and preparing it for publishing, thank you, Dad. I'm taking the risk. Until then, this is the Life of Logos podcast. I'm Colin. Next week, I think we're going to have Kim back. And until then, we'll see you next time.